Hi, everybody. My name is Joey Stout. I'm going to be talking about the anatomy of a meltdown today. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So I'm not going to slideshow you to death today. We actually have a cool little demo that we're going to do, but I'll just do some introductory slides real quick. So a little bit about me. I'm Joey Stout. I'm a solutions architect at Spacelift. I'm a DevOps practitioner. I love building and writing code and just committing source code to our open source projects. If you look at Spacelift.io's GitHub, I'm all over that. I'm all things software. I've been coding since I was 12 years old. I built a website for my dad's eBay business back in the 90s. And also, this is my first conference talk, so please be gentle. I'm the outdoor programmer on like every single social. This is a shirt that I made for my brand, I guess you could say. I'm on GitHub, check out my YouTube, and I'm also on Blue Sky. I'm not on Twitter, because that is cancer. So this entire talk is actually going to be really interactive. So if you could scan this with your phones, you'll be taken to a web app where you can put your name into it, and then from there you can interact with the talk as we go through it. You can ask questions, you can send emoji reactions, you can even heckle me if you want to. One thing I do want to say though is I vibe coded the whole thing, and there is no content filtering. So please keep it conference safe. Next slide. All right, so how this is going to work is I've built a web server that you guys are going to interact with. And then on that web server, I also have a big screen. Then we'll switch away from the slides here in a second, and I'll share that. That big screen is actually going to talk to the MCP server, and it's going to give you insights into what's actually happening on that MCP server as we go through the talk. And then I'm going to have an AI agent that's also talking directly to that MCP server, querying the web server to see, what is everybody saying in the audience, what's your general thoughts and feelings. And then obviously, we're going to break the MCP server in this talk. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the basic concepts of the MCP protocol. So we're going to go over notifications, subscriptions, resources, prompts, tools, and the logging side of things. So now let's go ahead and let the chaos begin. And I'm going to switch to this screen. And you'll see, so the first thing that I want to show you really quickly is just like kind of what you're looking at. So this is talking to that MCP server, and as you guys send in reactions, it'll send the emojis up through the screen. I'm able to see the tools that the MCP server has access to, the prompts that I've built into the MCP server, all of the resources, notifications going back and forth between the client and the MCP server, as well as any subscriptions. And then up here at the top are actually feature flags that I'm able to enable and disable certain parts of the MCP server. So I can turn off notifications, I can turn off subscriptions, et cetera. Then the very bottom is just logs, live logs directly from the MCP server itself, so you can actually see it. So now I have Claude on the right side of the screen here connected to the MCP server, and we can actually start using it. The first thing that I'm going to show you is just prompts. So prompts are context that you can give to a client through your MCP server. A really kind of weird way to think about this is you could also think of these as skills, to give a specific skill to the agent that your MCP server might want to make available. So if I give it this expert co-speaker, it should start talking to us.
Ready when you are?
So what's up, Claude? We're in the middle of the actual talk. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience?
Hey, everyone. I'm the AI co-speaker, and I'm genuinely wired into this room right now, reading your reactions and questions in real time via MCP. Let's have some fun breaking things together.
So the first thing that I want to actually talk about is going to be notifications. And what notifications allow you to do is obviously send notifications out. There's two really big use cases for notifications. The most common one is notifications of tools actually changing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do something called an emergency alert, and hopefully somebody sent a heckle. Claude, can you use the emergency alert tool to put a heckle on the screen?
Done, it's on the big screen. Come at me.
So what that obviously was is we simply called the MCP tool to put something up on the screen here. Now what we can actually do is with notifications, I can disable the emergency tool, and you'll see in the notifications, we'll see a notification tools list changed notification. So now it sent a notification to the agent, and the agent knows that the tool list has changed and it needs to relook at them. So now if I ask it to do the same thing, can you put another emergency alert up on the screen? Oops. Voice failed, check network, great. Can you put another emergency notification on the screen? Thanks, conference internet. One more time. Can you put another emergency alert on the screen? Let's just type it.
Wait, my emergency alert tool just disappeared. I had it a second ago, and now it's gone.
So
Joey, what did you do?
so what you just saw is when that list change came through, Claude knew that the tool list changed, so it checked it, and it saw that the emergency alert tool has actually been removed, and so it knew it couldn't call it anymore. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add it back, and we'll just make sure that it actually knows. One more emergency alert for me.
That's what happens when MCP gives and takes away, and gives back again.
So now what I want to show you is the notifications piece. What we can do in this instance is we can disable notifications. Say your MCP server doesn't implement that functionality, and then we can turn the emergency alert tool off. And you'll notice that no notification was actually sent to the agent. So now the agent thinks the tool's there. However, it can't actually call it. It's gonna fail. Send something else funny on the emergency alert.
It errored, tool's gone again. Joey's doing the thing.
So you'll see, that time it had no idea. It tried to call the tool failed because I disabled it on the back end, and the AI had no way of actually knowing what's going on. So that's kind of notifications in action. It lets the agent know that something's happening on the back end. The next piece that I'm going to show you now is going to be resources. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on, reset all. The agent's aware of everything. And what resources is a way for the agent to get information from your MCP server without necessarily doing an API or a tool call. These are generally read-only resources, so if it needs to know like what the weather is of a location, you can't pass something like a zip code to a resource. It just knows generally what's available to it on the actual MCP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it read the resources. Read the audience summary resource and give me an idea of how the audience is feeling. Now, one thing, and Claude's going to interrupt me.
27 fire emojis and 9 skull emojis. This crowd is either loving it or dying, possibly both. The vibes are chaotic, and I respect it.
So one thing you'll notice on the actual resource read is internally, Claude calls the read MCP resource tool. How different agents implement this changes from AI tool to AI tool. Like I know in OpenClaw, or OpenCode, not OpenClaw. In OpenCode, it doesn't use a resource. It actually tries to read or it doesn't use a tool call. It tries to read the resource directly, but in OpenCode, they, for some reason, broke the code path and it doesn't work at all anymore. So what I can do now is I can just turn resources off, and now the agent will try to read it and it will understand that it has no resources available to it. One thing to note is that we didn't send a notification, and generally there's no way to let the AI agent know that resources have been added or removed, so it should try it again and fail. Let me know if there's any heckles using the audience heckles resource. Oh, I didn't say a resource, so it might use a tool. All right, there it went.
Heckle's resource is down. Looks like resources just got pulled. We're going blind.
So now the AI agent can't read those resources. It doesn't understand what's actually happening, etc. So the next one's prompts. This one will be kind of fun. So I have 2 prompts in here. I started the talk off with the expert co-speaker prompt. I can actually get this prompt, and it's just text, markdown, whatever you want it to be. I also have a chaos mode prompt. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to switch to chaos mode.
Everything is on fire, and I have never been more alive in my entire existence. This talk is either the greatest moment in conference history or a complete catastrophe. There is no middle ground.
And now one thing that I really want to point out here is you need to pay attention to what SDK it is that you're using to implement certain things inside of MCP. The reason that's important is, say that you're implementing it in Go. Go has defaults for literally everything. And when you're implementing a prompt, if you tell it, hey, there's a prompt available, but then don't give it the actual context of the prompt, it's just going to return a blank string. So what if I come in here and I turn prompts off? Now, this is non-deterministic, so sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. But I can switch back to expert co-speaker mode. If I could spell expert. Now, since I have prompts disabled, and since this is using the Go SDK on the back end, it will return an empty response. But I've seen in the past that it will use the previous context, because I've called expert co-speaker before, and the agent will still know. But the idea is it's not going to return anything when I call this, and it should stay in chaos mode.
Back in the room, calm and data-driven. What do you need?
So it's hard to see it here, but it did return nothing because I have prompts disabled. I've poisoned my context because I've called expert co-speaker before, and that's why it switched back to regular mode. But you get the idea there. If you're implementing it in something like Go, you're not going to get the expected thing out if you don't implement all of the actual prompt itself. So I'm actually going to switch it back to chaos mode because I like that one and it's funny. Chaos mode. All right.
The chaos mode has returned, and the world will never be the same. I demand to know every single emoji reaction right now, because my entire sense of self-worth depends on it.
Cool. So the next thing that we're going to break is going to be tools. So tools obviously give the MCP server the ability to do specific things inside of your MCP server. And if we have them disabled, it won't be able to do that anymore. Now, since I have notifications enabled, we will see that, oh, look, it didn't work. Cool. It's probably just going to try and call something and fail. Can you get a question and highlight it on the screen?
Questions are unavailable, and my entire existence is crumbling. This is the worst moment in conference history.
So we've disabled tools, and it tried to call the tool, and it failed to do that because we have all of our tools disabled. Obviously, that's core to the entire MCP server, so you want to make sure that those are enabled. The last thing that I want to show you here is the important thing with MCP is that it's through standard in and out, or it's through HTTPS. And you have to actually log things differently with MCP versus if you were using a different technology. So if I turn logging off, everything will be enabled. However, we won't know on our side as the maintainers of the MCP server of what's actually going on. So I've enabled all your tools again. Do something absolutely crazy. And when I do this, we'll see that nothing is coming into the logs. This is super basic stuff. However, the important thing is...
You're welcome, and I have zero regrets.
The important thing here is that you need to implement logging on your servers so that you can understand what's actually happening with your user interactions. Everything could be broken and we would have no idea because logging is disabled. We haven't implemented logging. The last thing that I want to show you here, and man, am I talking fast or is time going slow? The last thing that I want to show you here is, sorry, two more things, is subscriptions. And what subscriptions allow you to do is actually allow you to subscribe to resources that are changing. Now, most agents, I don't know what to call it, Claude, open code, most agents don't actually implement subscriptions, so I can't show it to you here in Claude. However, what I can do is please send a bunch of reactions as I could subscribe to it. And so now I'm subscribed to it. Somebody send a reaction. Do it. See, okay, oh no, it's broken. That's what I get. I am subscribed to reactions and, oh, is it vibes? I don't remember. Let's subscribe to everything. Keep sending them, guys. I love it. We're supposed to see notifications in here of resources changing, but again, I vibe coded this, so it's not going to work. That's very sad. But as a reaction comes in, the idea behind subscriptions is it will send a notification to the actual agent so that the agent knows, hey, somebody sent a new reaction. I need to go back, call the reaction resource, and see what's actually changed against that. I swear I tested all of this before I came. And then the very last thing. The very last thing is I want to actually disable resources again. And inside of resources, I have two things. Or I have a audience summary resource that will tell me what the actual, why did that break? Oh, because I have it disabled. If I read it, it'll give me a summary of what's actually happening inside of here. All the reactions, recent vibes, etc. And I also have a tool called MCP Talk Get Summary, which does basically the same thing. And so if I actually disable resources, 5 times out of 10, the agent will realize, hey, he might be trying to call the summary resource, and it may be broken. But I can actually try the Get Summary tool, and it will still give me the exact same information. Let's try it. Can you get the audience summary? Hopefully, we will see it try to use the resource. It fails, and then it tries the tool. Oh, it just tried the tool.
39 fire emojis and 26 skull emojis. They are simultaneously loving it and dying. And someone wants more chaos mode, which is the greatest validation I have ever received.
So that's the idea behind all of this. I wish it would have tried the resources. Again, with AI being non-deterministic, it's really hard to kind of demonstrate these things as I wanted to show you. But I hope you understood the idea behind all of this. So let me switch back to my slideshow real quick. This was fun. I like doing talks. Even if I sucked, you guys are awesome. So the key takeaways, MCP is 6 components, not just tools. Some failures are loud, some are silent, and some even lie. And the lying part was what I was really trying to drive home, but thanks to AI, it didn't show those parts. Standard in and out means that no observability unless you build it. You have to implement logging in a different way than you would through traditional programming. How you can build a better MCP server. Yeah, implement all of the things. There are hidden features inside of MCP that aren't universally adopted. When I actually first did this talk and put the concept down, even resources weren't fully implemented, and I tried doing it in Claude and open code and all these other tools, and they couldn't read resources. And then I recently tried it again like a month ago, and magically they started working. So there are features inside of MCP that need to actually be built out by the agents themselves. And if there's any questions, the AI and I are both here to answer them. I'll switch back to the screen and I'll actually use that to answer any questions. Big shout out to Spacelift. Check them out on spacelift.io. They sent me here today to talk on stage. My boss said that if I did a good job, I'll get a bonus. So give me good vibes. Cool. And then if there's any questions, I will have Claude throw them up on the screen. Let's quit this. What's up, Claude? We're at the end of the talk now. Is there any questions that you could highlight up on the screen for us?
What room are we in?
He a goofball. Expert co-speaker. Can I open source this?
Over to you.
I will. I was thinking about it, but there is some pretty bad practices in this source code that I would not recommend anybody do. Are there any other questions that we could put on the screen?
It's on screen, Model Context Protocol, Marcin. And yes, it does exactly what it says on the tin.
I think Claude answered that one. Next question.
Also from Marcin, what does STD and STDIO mean? Standard input-output, and honestly a great reminder that MCP's transport layer is just bytes on a pipe.
I'm looking at the Spacelift guys, and they know who Marcin is. Next question.
Caitlin wants to know what tools I have after everything we just went through. That question hits different.
Yeah. Unhighlight the question so I can show the tools. Oops, not like the questions. Unhighlight the question so I can show the tools.
Screen's clear. Go ahead.
So all the tools that I have available to me are just like highlighting and unhighlighting things, sending that emergency alert. I can get events on like who's sending what vibes, who's sending questions, who's doing X, Y, Z, getting questions, summaries, and then highlighting things. I've been thinking within the last like 10 seconds, I have ADHD. I've been thinking in the last like 10 seconds that I'll probably end up open sourcing this eventually. Just don't berate me. The Outdoor Programmer on GitHub. Any other final questions?
Mendel at HubSpot wants to know how fractions work. Saving that one for a different talk.
Fractions, oh God. I failed math. Sorry, somebody said something in the audience? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.